further ado, this is dedicated to men. Your problems are simpler than you think. We're gonna go. It's really long, so we're just gonna go over it piece by piece here because this is very important. Some of you may remember I did a lot of life coaching last year. I put it on hold because I need to articulate exactly what I can and can't help with before I take people's money, and I don't have time to review every application. There were just a few too many people coming to me with unrealistic expectations, which, I mean, I'm sure if you've had any sort of job, guys, when you've dealt with people, you know people are always going to think they're special and are always going to think they're unique, and they're always going to request the world from you, especially if they really look up to you and they like you a lot. So I understand what he's saying there. Um, but I really like that he said too, before I take people's money, because to me, again, I don't know this guy. I don't think this guy even shows his face. So I can't tell you that I've met this guy before. He seems like a very intelligent person though, and I like how he mentioned here he before he takes people's money, he wants to be able to articulate things, and he's telling you that some of you have too many expectations, and that's gonna have to do with what he's saying here. The one biggest problem that people who can't fix their problems have in common is this, quote unquote, okay, but how do I solve the problem without performing the solution? And that right here is what I want to tie into my content, which is what I talk about, which is truth, consciousness, right? Trying to understand what's really taking place around you at a deep level, which is very hard to understand. Breaking the matrix and all these conspiracies that's been hijacked basically by the right wing, I'd say, and QAnon and all these different things like Antifa, whatever. It's like people realize everything is so expensive. Just a small example, right? We realize, especially with my generation, there's a big problem connecting. People don't have friends. People are all depressed. People aren't forming intimate relationships anymore. People are getting divorced. People aren't having kids anymore. People aren't together anymore. People are divided more than ever, and you have to be a real stunad not to notice that. And everyone says, okay, subconsciously, but how do I solve the problem without performing the solution? Because this is everyone's issue. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to learn. They don't want to take the time to understand what is taking place around you. First of all, are you aware enough to understand where you go wrong in life, what you're doing wrong, where you're falling short? Are you aware enough to understand that you have to have a certain competency level if you want to elevate in life? And some of these things you can't teach people. Some people just aren't competent. Some people think they're smart or whatever because they have a piece of paper that they spent 200 grand for and now they're in 50K of debt for, and they have a job that they get paid 40K that they don't make enough and the interest is going to catch up to them. People think they're smart because they have master's degrees that don't do shit with them or do a job that's completely different from it, right? You see, people think they're intelligent for the wrong reasons. I'm not telling you I'm a smart guy. I'm probably like a very average on intelligence. I'm not gonna say I'm below average, but I'm really not that smart. I never did well in school. I was always the type of kid to get C's and B's or whatever. Like to get an A, like I needed to get a lot of help and like put in like extra work to get an A or whatever. Because I hated school. I always hated sitting there. I knew from when I was a little kid, like the stuff they were teaching me, like was just it was nonsense. But anyway, I don't mean to ramble there. You guys get my point. Is people don't want to take action. So he's going to go on to say it comes in many forms, quote unquote. How do I lose weight without eating less? How do I make money without working? How do I get girls to like me without being interesting or putting on a nicer shirt? Now, listen, these things are all foreign to me, to be honest. I've never had weight issues. I've gone to the gym since I was 16. Always ate somewhat healthy. Never really had the healthiest diet. I'm not going to sit here and say I eat the healthiest, but it's not completely unhealthy. Again, I'm conscious about what goes into my body. I'm conscious that food can be like drugs because, for example, I like pizza. If there's any food that I get cravings for that I love, it's pizza. And not that pizza is the worst thing for you, but it's a lot of carbs, it's a lot of fat, a lot of cheese, a lot of grease, and there's toppings on it. So if you get certain toppings, that might add to it. So that's my guilty pleasure. But again, that's pizza. It's a lot. Some people eat much worse things than me and go on binges. Some people have actual problems with food, which I've never had. When it comes to money, I mean, listen, I've always had jobs. Like, I've never owned a business. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, some Andrew Tate guy who's a millionaire, all these things. Like, no, I'm a working person, just like you. I work a job that's 40 hours a week, just like you probably. How do I get girls to like me without being interesting or putting on a nicer shirt? I mean, I think that I've always dressed nice. That's just me. But I know guys and who don't dress nice. There's this one dude I'm thinking in particular, kid I know from early years, but this dude he just never dressed nice. His clothes always looked like they were from Kmart. You guys remember Kmart when that was around? And it's these ratty shoes, these really immature T-shirts, like Disney characters on it when you're in high school. It's just weird, you know. But um, anyway, you gotta dress nice. You gotta shower. You gotta get a haircut, shave a little, trim it at least. Go to the gym. You don't have to look like a bodybuilder. You really don't, because I don't look like a bodybuilder. But I go to the gym, and I don't go to the gym for girls. I go to the gym because I like to. I've gone to the gym since I was 16, because I used to play football, and that's what got me in the gym, and I've kept the gym a thing ever since. So there's really small things I'm telling you you can do. And trust me, women are really difficult in today's world. I'm sure you guys know that. I don't have to explain it to you. It's hard to get it, even if you have all your chips together. Everything about you is great, right? It's still so hard to get a date. It's so hard to get a date with a girl, I should say, that's attractive. Like girls who are, if you, I think I have my shit together. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here trying to boast. I, I don't know many guys my age who live alone, have their own car, have a job, just have some things going for them, right? At least. And let me tell you, I haven't been on a date with a different girl, at least, in a long time. Because it's not easy. One, it's hard to meet girls unless you go to these drinking scenes, right? Unless you go to a bar, a club, whatever. Yeah, you're going to see girls that are your age. But man, when I'm in the gym, I don't see that many girls. I see mainly guys there. But the girls I see, we all know that the gym's not the most ideal place to talk to women. I go for walks all the time in local parks in my town. You know, I don't really see people my age. I see mainly older people, honestly, or teenagers. There's like no in between. So I don't know what people my age do, honestly. And I've made videos, plenty of videos talking about how I'm really confused on what people my age do with their time, that I never really see people my age out unless it's drinking scenes. So I don't know, man. That's just me. He goes on to say a lot of my followers are black pilled. I just made a video about this recently, right? But he's using black pilled in a different context here. Black pilled demoralized Western men. Our problems are. Oh man, I'm sorry, guys. Our problems are pretty bad, and no one gives a shit. If you talk about them, people spit in your face. Yes, I know this from firsthand experience that people don't like when you talk about truth. Because when you talk about truth, when you start ringing alarm bells in people's head, it makes them uncomfortable, and they don't like that. People don't like to be uncomfortable. I know exactly how it goes. Almost certainly more. I'm sorry. I know exactly how it goes. Almost certainly more than you do because I'm older than my audience and have much higher trait openness than average. Big five personality test, so I've gone out and done more. All right, I don't know. I don't know what that is exactly. I have figured out what you need to do, and I have launched and am developing a service to help you do it. So, the Big Five personality test, I don't really know what that is, but I'm guessing just by the sounds of it that there's 5 different personalities out there or whatever. And maybe you can be a mix of some or whatever. And again, this is what I mean by like whole math. He gets into detail about stuff. Like he just added that in there, which it just makes him seem more credible. And I believe him. I don't think he's bullshitting. I think he's telling the truth. Because again, he strikes me as this kind of person that is very aware of consciousness. Maybe he's not describing it as consciousness, but he's a very conscious, aware person. So let's get into the answer to grow and improve. It doesn't matter at what. Yes, I love how he started it off with saying that. It doesn't matter, right? For example, I've been making videos like this. No one watches me because of my content. The algorithm is never going to let me, get out there, no matter how good my people might think my stuff is or whatever. But I've been doing this since 2019, and if I were to go watch my older videos from like 2020, 2021, I just see a big difference in the way I am. And obviously, I was, how old was I there? I guess 23 around there. I'm 28 now, so I don't know what that is. 5 years ago, maybe. So obviously a lot can change in 5 years. I used to be very emotional about these things. I used to get very fanatical. My beliefs weren't exactly on point. I wasn't on point with everything as I am now, of course. And I'm again, there's always an improvement. There's room for improvement. So I'm not saying I have everything figured out. Um, so anyway, he's gonna the answer to grow and improve. It doesn't matter even at what. If you get better at one thing, it helps you get better at anything else. Yes. Life seriously actually works like a video game where you get experience points that you can spend later once you have time to think about what you want to be. I was never really much of a video game player, especially in my adult life. I kind of grew out of that, like, I would say when I was 16, maybe younger even. I don't know. I feel like by the time I was a junior in high school, like, I kind of grew out of that. That's just me, though. I'm not saying if you play video games, it's a problem, but you can pick anything you want, and if you don't know what you want, there's an exercise to help you figure it out in a short time. Life is not fair, and success is not guaranteed no matter what you do. And it looks like, to me, like things are getting harder and not even slowing down. Maybe the Doge cuts will help. No, I don't believe that. This is, you see, like I'm saying, I don't agree with everything Homass says. I think he's a very smart and intelligent guy, but don't get it twisted. I don't agree with everything this guy says. I'm optimistic, but with the government, you should always wait and see. We can't control any of that. We can only control whether or not we get up and get better. Yes. And it's easy to get negative, especially with the stuff I talk about. People might think that I'm a negative guy or that I'm paranoid or whatever, but I'm really, truly not. I live every day. I have a plan for every day. I'm not waking up, oh my God, is today the day the dollar is going to collapse? Is today the day we get bombed by China or Iran or Russia or whoever? You know what I'm saying? I don't live my life in fear like that. I live my life in awareness. I'm aware that certain things can happen at any given moment, and that whatever the narrative is going to be, it probably isn't really what it is, if you get what I'm saying. Some of you are not running in the race just because you don't want to feel the pain of losing. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Big problem for young men, right? No one wants to run in the race because you don't want to feel the pain of losing. I know. I get it. I totally understand it. It sucks losing. It sucks getting rejected. It sucks being told you're crazy. It sucks people saying bad things about you even though you're a good person who has good intentions. It sucks. I know. It's a lot to endure. And you know what? I still get angry thinking about the stuff I endured. And I'm still going to endure a lot because of the period we're at in life. But I realize that we are at a certain period right now in time where people are awakening to truth. People are asking questions. They might not be getting to the right spot, at first. They might get led down some sort of political rabbit hole or some sort of JQ rabbit hole or whatever, or some Trump rabbit hole, right? But as long as people are beginning to ask questions, maybe they'll get led to, hey, literally everything you're getting told is a lie, from politics to religion, okay? Both are not the answer. The answer is for the people to understand that, yes, we are spiritual beings. There is a natural sort of law that's placed, and that there is a God that does exist. But is it the God that this Bible claims, that mind you, is man-written by the people who run all these religious organizations and so on and so forth? I mean, let me tell you something. If you think the Bible was the end-all, be-all truth, would it be out there right now? It probably wouldn't be. There wouldn't be this really big religious awakening on all spectrums, not just Christianity. So it goes to show you they want you to get led down the myth of religious organizations. And I'm not saying that you can't practice these religions or ever learn anything from it and live your life in righteousness according to how we should be doing. Because if we're being real with ourselves, if we're living in righteousness, there wouldn't be politics, there wouldn't be a government, and we wouldn't have this thing called money. We would all just be working to make the world go round, to make the world a better place. And if you want to know something we can use about a currency, let's trade stuff. How about you could trade food, trade water, trade goods that you have, as opposed to a piece of paper that, mind you, just a few people are controlling. Anyway, I know I went on a rant there, but um, you can pick anything you want, and if where is it going? Um, where was I? Sorry, guys. I remember a lot of painful, awful, unjust failures in my life, but I don't ever remember not trying. So that's a really good way to end it. But anyway, he goes on to say here, I actually forgot to point this part out. The pain of never running is worse, and that's going to suck. So, as I was talking about, a lot of people don't want to run, right? In the race because they don't want to face the pain, the rejection, and the ridicule by people, which I could totally understand uh, and and relate to. But the pain of never running is way worse, and that's really going to suck in 10 years when you know that you could have done something now. The time is now, is what is my point, ladies and gentlemen, with this whole post. The time is now.